Well, hello, gorgeous women of Women Empowering Women. I was invited to just share with you an encouraging message from the most amazing, gorgeous Sylvia Locklear. She's such a beautiful person. Shout out to Sylvia. I love you. And I just appreciate her so much because she always shares with me when she's encouraged. She's been very supportive of my Glamour Cosmetics business. I'm super grateful. Just for those of you that don't know me, I'm Gerlinda Price. I'm the CEO of Glamour Cosmetics, which is a direct sales company that God called me to launch, and I'm also an ordained pastor. So I wanted to share with you tonight something that God laid on my heart when she encouraged me or told me that I could share a video just for you and specifically for you. So I was like, well, God, what do you want me to tell them? Because I want it to be important. And I wanted to answer prayers, for some of you. So my message may not be for all of you, and I certainly am not preaching a sermon. I'm just sharing with you and empowering you with what God gave me. God has called me to women in business, leadership, and ministry. I've owned businesses since I was 19 years old. And through it all, God has blessed me to earn a six-figure income. And so that part isn't important, but what is important is I can help you get to the place of where you want to go in your business in terms of helping you avoid the pitfalls I made, or just sharing with you some things I thought about along the way or had to overcome along the way. And so I want to share that with you tonight. I'm right here on Facebook, so you can message me or call me if you need me, but I'm here. So what I want to share with you tonight is coming from Exodus 3. And I'm going to share with you why I'm sharing it with you in a second. But now Moses was tending the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the far side of the desert and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. And then skipping over to 3, so Moses thought, I will go over and see this strange sight while the bush does not burn up. Because he saw a burning bush, but it wasn't on fire. It was just burning. So he went over to see what it was. When the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called to him from within the bush, Moses, Moses. And Moses responded, here I am. And God told him, don't come any closer. Take off your sandals, for the place where you're standing is holy ground. And so he introduced himself to Moses. He said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look on God. And so then it said, the Lord said, I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I've heard them crying out because of their slave drivers, and I am concerned about their suffering. So God is telling Moses that the people's cries in Israel, or the Israelites, have come before him, and he's concerned. And then he says, so I have come down, God is speaking, I have come down to rescue them from the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up and out of the land into a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey. And then it says further down in verse 3 verse 10, so now go, I'm sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. But Moses said to God, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? And God said, I'll be with you. And this will be the sign to you that it is I who have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God on this mountain. Moses said to God, suppose I go to the Israelites and say to them, the God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they ask me, what is his name? Then what shall I tell them? God said to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you. God also said to Moses, say to the Israelites, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, the name by which I am to be remembered from generation to generation. So why did I want to share that with you? Because right when Sylvia gave me the invitation, I was like, okay, God, what do you want me to share? I am that I am. And I think that the one thing that women have to overcome and have to feel empowered about is you're good enough right where you are. You have to begin where you are with what you have. Well, Moses had a stuttering problem. He had a speech impediment. So, of course, he was not confident to go to Pharaoh and say, the God of your fathers has sent me, because they're going to look at him like, well, who is your father and what are you talking about? Because the Egyptians didn't believe in God. They worshiped other gods. And then in addition to that, if he goes to say the God of your fathers has sent me, they're going to ask him, well, who sent me? So when people ask you, well, how do you know that you're called to do this as a woman leader, or as a woman in a leadership position, or as a woman in a business ownership role, or whatever, or a woman in ministry, whatever it is that God has called you to do, and they ask you, well, who sent you? Of course, you're not going to stand in front of them and say that the God of your father sent me, but you are going to say, I am sent and I have come because this is what God has called me to do. So you've got to be confident that I am that I am. You are who God called you to be. You are who God made you to be. And you don't need to be anything else. And where the confusion comes in, for women, and I've gone through this, so all of you may not be feeling this way, so again, the message isn't for everyone, it's just for some of you. People want to know, what is my calling? What am I called to do? And they seek and search because they see other people with the gifts of tongues. They see other people with the gift of preaching. They see other people with the gift of teaching. They see other people with the gift of leadership. They see other people with the gift of evangelism, or the gift of hospitality, or the gift of laughter. And so they begin to compare their gifts against other people's gifts, whatever the gifts are. If it's hair, if it's, I don't know, crafts, whatever your gift is, oftentimes we can compare our gifts to other people's gifts, and then we begin to wonder, well, I don't have a calling. But what I would encourage you to do is ask God, who has he called you to? What is your gift? Because your gift is right in front of you, and the word of God said that it will make room for you, right? So at the time when I wanted to do hair, my mom wanted me to go to college, and I did. And she said, you know, you got to go get a degree, because she didn't get to finish her degree. So that was really important to her. But the minute that I finished that degree, I did have a job for about a year, but I realized I didn't like working for people, you know, and I just, probably because I had control issues, but I didn't like working for people, but I could never put my finger on, like, why can't I keep a job? Every 6 months I had a new job, and I was like, I really can't stand the confines of work. And I realized when I stumbled across someone I learned about entrepreneurship and business ownership, I realized that's what God had called me to do. And the minute that I began to walk in the natural bent, meaning hair at that time, but entrepreneurship for a lifetime. I've been a business owner for a lifetime. The minute that I walked in that natural bent and somebody helped me to identify that, I knew that that was what God had called me to do. So some of you are called to women. Some of you are called to children. Some of you are called to teaching. Some of you are called to ministry. Some of you are called to cook. Some of you are called to business ownership. Some of you are called to hair and nails. Some of you are called to coaching. But whatever it is that you do naturally and that you would do for free, some of you do it for free, but there's things I've done for free, like to get to where I wanted to go. So some of the things that you do for free are your natural bent, and anything that makes you feel anxious or anxiety, or you hate to do it and it's just like such a stress to do it, and it's like it always seems like you're working against the grain, that may not be what God is calling you to do. So you have to know that I am sent you. I am called you, and I am that I am, meaning you are enough. Just how you are, just the way you are is good enough, and it's great enough. And you have everything that you need to launch and to start where you are. The minute that you launch out into the direction that God has called you to go, doors will open. Oprah said it best, and I love this quote, but providence will move to make it all line up, meaning the earth will shift and line up. God will cause blessings to line up to make it go the way that it's supposed to go for you, because now you've lined up with what he's called you to do. So I encourage you to pray. If you want us to pray about something with you or for you, just message me over here on Facebook, or share it right down below in the comment section, and we'll be praying with you that you believe that you're great enough and good enough for what God has called you to be, and that everything that you are is going to work out perfect and in your favor the minute that you line up and get in the natural bent of where you are. But you're good enough. You don't need any more money. You don't need any more skills. You don't need any more education. You have everything that you need to start today. And one last thing I want to remind you of is, again, Moses had a speech impediment, but God sent, was it Joshua? His brother? So God sent Aaron. God sent Aaron with him so that he would have a helpmate. I'm talking to my husband. He's over here on the couch. God sent Aaron with him so that he wouldn't be by himself. So you're not going to be alone on the journey. So don't think that wherever you go and wherever you're starting, that you're going to be by yourself. There will always be an Aaron to go with you, to help you speak, to tell you what to say, to share with you what to do, if you'll be willing to ask for help. So God bless you. I hope you have an amazing week, and I look forward to talking to Women Empowering Women very soon. And again, Sylvia Locklear, thank you so much for the invitation, and I love you. Mwah. Bye.